well. Welcome to another stream of fun and frivolity in the music world. I made a few changes here in the studio today, so still adjusting things, and always changes. Pretty much going to pick up where yesterday left off. I made some changes to Cube. I made some changes to the loop synths and the loops again. A little bit of change in the bass. Little new patches on the PolyBrute, the Take 5. So, you know, I'm going to try and stay somewhat true to Jamuary, and oh my gosh, I have a terrible stream rate tonight, so we shall just see what the heck happens, if anything. Errors like crazy. All right, well, let's see what we get. We've had a lot of storms here today. It's been raining all day, a few power hits, so the interwebs may not treat me kindly tonight. If it gets or remains terrible, I'll probably jump off early. But let's see how it goes. Let's make some noise. Off to a rousing start there with the switching error. Oh well, is what it is. I added a few things to the switcher too, so you know, everything's broken. What the heck? Hey, Nana, thanks for coming. Tracy, welcome. Hi, Joel. Good to see you. how's the picture and the sound out there tonight? The delay must be horrible. Rainy. Yeah, that's what I thought. Apparently my internet provider is doing me wrong badly tonight. So that's the joy or lack there joy of live streams. So Nigel's got a grainy picture. Tracy says picture's pretty good. Nano says it's my internet. Yeah, my internet's terrible tonight. I've got video and audio is reduced quality. The nice thing is, what I'm seeing, I'm not getting any caching errors. So the replays should be nice. And Nigel's getting it 1080 HD. You must be the one stream that's getting it, because even my return back is horrible. I guess there's too much water everywhere around here. It's been raining all day. There's a lot of folks having flooding issues around here, so I'm guessing it's just slogging, siphoning off all the electrons that are supposed to go out to the world. Right now I'm streaming at about 460 kilobits per second. The fact that you guys are getting anything is just absolutely amazing. So, not much fun. Ah, well. That's what I was afraid when I first started up and saw the stream rate so low. I figured it may be a bad one. Well, geez, it's getting slower and slower every time. At some point, we're just going to stop, I think. I have no idea how far behind things are either. Let's see. I'm going to do a little clap test here, just to see how long the delay is. It's only 7-second delay. That's not too bad. It just looks like junk. Oh well. Well, I guess I'll keep going. What the heck? If anything you want to chatter about, I'm watching the stream. I have two screens to watch the stream on now, and I also have some other neat things going on. Lots of high-end artifacts. It could be a lot of folks online, and I don't know what my wife is doing. I know she was watching some stuff, some streaming some stuff, but that hasn't been that much of a problem until tonight. I did have one night where it was a little glitchy and slow. She was on but she was asleep for that night. So, and I don't remember it being this bad last week on Tuesday night. I should probably keep notes so I can give my ISP a jolt. Luke, welcome. Let's see something here. I'm going to do a quick internet speed test. Luke, I'm back to the sub megabit per second rate. No, it's not a montage. So what I've got, for those who haven't seen, let's see, this guy is a Native Instruments Kontrol S. Political discourse on the video and not GerenM. What? Well, now that's interesting. Did somebody hijack my stream? That would be an interesting thing. Interesting. I'm going to do a speed check real quick. Now see, this should be good. I've got 100 megabits per second up out of the house. And so this, or I'm sorry, download. Let me see what the upload is. Hold on. Yeah, you know, I should have plenty of upload bandwidth because I'm doing 11 megabits per second up out of the house. And I don't know what's going on in here tonight. Maybe I got too many things whacking away on stuff. I don't know. Audio sounds of 32. Okay, hope it's not a problem in the streaming box. No, I don't think so. I hope not either. It's been working great. It's a Blackmagic Design A10 Mini Pro. So not the worst, not the best streaming box in the world, but also not a horrible one. I hope I don't have to. I hope that I don't have to build an OBS machine and do that horror again. Yeah, it could be YouTube. Who knows? Anyway, so what you're looking at is a Native Instruments Kontrol S49, and it's their newest Kontrol series keyboard or keyboard controller. It does a much better job than any of the previous ones in integrating with Ableton Live and even integrating with their own stuff. Honestly, it's really a beautiful thing, and I've gushed about it every night. So if you go back through previous night streams, you can see me blather on for 20 minutes at a time about this thing. Other keyboards in the synth or in the rig. Over here, we've got a Sequential Take 5 and an Arturia PolyBrute. And then anything else that you're hearing is in the box. Tonight, we've got, let's see, zip across here and bring the computer up. So tonight, we've got that most base level drone. I'll go ahead and solo it for you. Is Cube, and it's a custom patch. Of course, solo drops my mic out. But Cube is an interesting, pretty interesting plugin. It's VST. It cycles through up to 8 samples around the cube, and you can manipulate each sample in a bunch of different ways as it passes through. So it's a pretty neat thing. It has traditionally been a CPU hog, but this week it's been really good. And I know there have been a couple updates since I first got it, so maybe they addressed some of those issues. And then we've got another drone going at the same time. It's a reactor synth, does this crazy noise. And I think I've actually got a sequence running on it tonight, manipulating the controls. Yes, it's I recorded a bunch of automation so that it'll change over time. So it makes just a lot of random odd noises or whatever waveforms you feed to it. Like I say, that's a reactor synth. Next up is Native Instruments FM8 FM synth. I should be using my Op6 here, and maybe I will. Maybe I will later in the week or sometime later in the month. So it's just running this nice little bell patch on a loose sequence. That loose sequence is in Stepic. So it's just the occasional bells. And I haven't had it playing yet tonight. I've got something going in form as well. And its sequence is also out of Stepic. And all of my sequences in Stepic have some degree of randomness added to them. I've got random notes here and there, and random durations, random velocities, random whether or not the thing plays. And then on the bass, it's another Native Instruments synth. This is uses the Contact engine. It's really impressive what Native Instruments have done with the Contact engine over the last few years. I remember when Contact was first out, it was pretty much a sample playback device, and it still is, but now they've got multi-layers and full synthesis engine under the hood. Let's see if I'll see if I can get it to change screens here. Do it, edit. Yeah, this one is not yet completely compatible or completely tied into the new keyboard. You actually have easier and better time controlling it in real time to some extent using the keyboard controller. With the new one, you actually get nice representations of the plugins. And this thing's got a sequencer that I'm not using. And then a couple of layers of stuff, which the most important controls on the front panel all the time on this one. And then there are a bunch of layers under the hood. Sound programming. It's the two oscillators, and each oscillator has its own pair of LFOs and its own pair of envelopes and whatnot. There's an effects section which has half a dozen slots. It's also got a sequencer that I'm not using, and the sequencer does pitch velocity and then up to six other parameters you can automate. So, fun stuff. And then the live synths or patches on them that I've come up with. The PolyBrute, I love the PolyBrute, but it does confound me in some ways. Every patch that I have created thus far for Jamuary, I have lost, because I can never remember how to save a patch in the thing, which drives me crazy. So anyway, so that's the tour of the system for the night. The rest of the stuff is just mixers and interfaces, and I've got a scat of iPads around here so I can watch the screen, watch the chat. Saving state is indeed overrated sometimes. I do really enjoy programming or patching on the PolyBrute. Yeah, it is. It's such a fun synth to patch and program that I don't, unless I've come up with something really good, I don't get so upset about losing something because there's always some other fun thing that I'll make, and usually I have it recorded, so maybe I can do something with it later, or save the bits, but it is what it is. So there's that. With the stream being as awful as it is for you, most of you guys out there, the guy who wrote the PolyBrute manual went to my church. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. Arturia's got a lot of really smart cookies in their stable, both working for them directly and the folks that they have working for them out and about in the world. I'm a big fan of most of their stuff, or much of their stuff. Everything that I've played with, I loved. Hey, like hearing my face. Well, thanks. I've got the MicroBrute, which is when I got back into synthesis from just playing rock and roll, the first synth that I bought was the MicroFreak, and it's another one that I need to give some more love. I haven't had it out in a while. I have been playing with the MiniFreak VST, the MiniFreak V, and it's neat. I'm glad that I did not buy a MiniFreak at this point. It's nice, but there's a certain charm about that weirdo capacitive keyboard and the funky sounds that it makes. I'm getting choked up about it too. Yeah, you didn't want you to hear me cough, so because that would have hurt anyone who's in headphones. So anyway, that's what else? There's some modal stuff sitting over there on the shelf. My Pro 800. Another thing that has been getting popular, or has been getting a lot of write-up lately. Our man Joe has been playing with his Lemondrop, and I want to get that back into the rig at some point. All the toys, I love having all the toys, but I have a lot of them, and I don't plan to buy any more for a while, unless it's absolutely necessary, or one of those things that becomes an accidental purchase. So anyway, I guess I'll play a few more notes, and it's been a little over half hour I've been on. I will wind down. Lemondrop is very tempting for a DAWless rig. Yes, it works super well. All of these little nanobox guys, we were discussing on the Discord later. They all do a heck of a lot for what they are. I mean, for their size, they've got a couple of. Most of them have a couple of different sample playback or wavetable playback engines, and then a virtual analog synth built into them. Flawless rig time. That sounds like a challenge, man. I could do that. I got a table over here for that. I could have a fun rig, I think, with the Lemondrop, the Fireball, and the new Tangerine. Those are the three of the four. Those are the three that jazz me the most. The Razzmatazz is interesting. It's neat, but I don't know. It's not the. If I were in a buying mood and we're going to go out and buy the things, the first one I think that I would buy would probably be the new Tangerine, and then the Fireball, and then the Razzmatazz. That would be the pecking order on those right now. And kind of the reason is I don't have, except for software, I don't have a really good sampler. Or any the sampler I do have, I've got the the poly-N tracker, but it only samples in mono. Looks a little buy more synths. More. More. Yeah. Now there's I spent an incredible amount of money on gear and software last year, and much more than I should have. And with some changes in the where's my modular rig? My modular rig is in VCV rack now. I have opinions on what I would do if I did a modular rig. My modular experience, actual experience, has been with Moog and only Moog and old Moog, and not a Moog that I could ever afford to buy at this point as an actual Moog synth, as much as I would love to. So part of me says if I'm going to go modular, I would just order up a Behringer Model 55. It's about as close to Moog as I can get and afford. And it's very close to the modular system that I used in college a million years ago. That's been, a long time ago, 40 years ago. Man. So if I were going to buy a 5U system, I have a big one at Guitar Center Hollywood, yeah, getting that and then getting it trucked here would be I could buy 2 cars for that, I'm sure. If I were going to buy into a 5U system, I might buy the I think it's the Musonics, the new Musonics stuff. I saw the demo at KnobCon, and it sounds amazing. And he's a cool guy. So that's if I were to go 5U, that may be where I would go. And it's not going to be horrifically expensive. That's the other thing. He was discussing price a few days ago, and the first 40 or 60, he hasn't decided which yet, I don't think, but the first 40 or 60 are all going to be hand built to raise the money to do the conversion to the surface mount. So those first 40 or 60 hand builts are only going to be $2,500 only. And realistically, they should be a bunch more than that. And then the production units, he doesn't have a price set on those yet, but it's going to be less than $2,500 for the whole system. And I think there's going to be kits available as well. And I don't know if I would want to do a kit with the whole thing with surface mount where everything has to be soldered. Although I do have a friend who's about 20 minutes away. He's got a shop where he actually builds small electronics for another sub hobby. We could probably, I could certainly use his soldering oven. Soldering surface mount, really, it's just tedious. And I say that when surface mount first started to show up in a lot of places back in the early 1980s, I was working as a bench tech in a Motorola radio shop, and we had to work on the radios before we had the proper rework stations. And so I learned to solder surface mount, with a regular good old Weller temperature controlled soldering iron and regular soldering tools. So for me, I now have a proper soldering station downstairs, and like I said, my buddy down the road's got an actual oven for doing surface mount. So surface mount doesn't really bother me a whole lot. Now it's a lot smaller than it was when I first did it. But I've done some rework for my friend just when he had some overflow work that needed to be done. It's not that hard. You just have to be, like I said, it's tedious, and you have to pay attention to what you're doing, and you need the right tools, and an optimizer is your friend. So that's it. The SDC says, they are really nice. It looks beautiful. 2 millimeters is it, and like I said, right tool. It's the trick is getting the solder mask. If you've got a good solder mask, it's actually pretty easy because you get everything. You solder it. You spread the solder on there. You place the part, which doesn't have to be particularly precise. And then you just heat it. You heat the whole thing, and when the solder melts to the appropriate temperature, everything just flips into place and lines up nice and neat. Take the heat away, and it's done, and it looks beautiful and it works well. So it's really not a hard technique. You just have to learn it and do it. And it's I've even done, like I said, I've done rework stuff downstairs. It's with the 2 millimeter stuff, and some 28 leg processor chips and that kind of thing. It's like I said, tedious, but quite doable. I don't know that I would want to do full solder work for I think it's a dozen or so modules or more, maybe 16 modules. That would be taxing for sure. But that said, it's going to be quite some time before I could buy one, and I'm certainly not going to be able to buy one of the first release. That's just unless I win the lottery, in which case all bets are off, and everything changes. Let's see, anything else? Went to Sunnyvale College. They started the digital music class with a mini mode. That's interesting. We'll start the digital music class with an analog synth. Did they have a reason behind that? What were they trying to illustrate something in particular? Hope I concealed the label enough. Just learned fundamentals of sound design right to Cubase. Cubase was my first DAW. Cubase VST. Started right in with VSTs. Let me take that back. Cubase was my first Windows DAW. I used more properly a computer-based sequencer. Before that, I used Cakewalks, some of the early versions of Cakewalk on PC, which were interesting. Great program, worked really well. And unlike Cubase, I don't have any vestiges of that laying around. I still have my Cubase parallel port dongle down in the basement. Cakewalk for DOS win. You got it. Yeah, I never saw a DAW before. I did use Microsoft Sound Record in the 90s like a DAW. Huh. Never, I never even heard of that, I don't think. Or if I did, I didn't really even think about it. Because let's see, in the 90s, let me do some mental math here. In the 90s, I was mostly DAWless. My system at that time consisted of an Ensoniq VFX SD and a Prophet 600. Before that Ensoniq, I had a Korg DS8 and the outboard 8-track MIDI sequencer that went along with it. But my first, my first workstation recorder was our first workstation synth keyboard was that Ensoniq, and man, that's what turned me on to polyphonic aftertouch. And I got, for whatever reason, I thought it would be a good idea to trade up from that synth, and I went to a Korg X2, which I absolutely hated. But such is life. We move through things, and so sound recorder came with Windows 3.1 and had a mix function. Huh. Windows 3.11 for workgroups was the best version of Windows ever. So Ensoniq as a PC sound card manufacturer was long after it was kind of into their demise, honestly, at that point. I think most of the really smart cookies there had moved on to other projects. Still within the Ensoniq company, they went on to do some really high-end noise-canceling hearing protection systems that were really quite amazing. And they had their hearing protectors would allow you could put these things on. It was the big muff kind, and be on an airport tarmac or on an aircraft carrier, and just wear these things, and it was basically silent in there. And you could stand next to each other and have a conversation and not hear the jet planes, but hear each other talk. Just absolutely astounding technology, especially for the time. Excuse me. I think I've swallowed a dust bunny. Luke chased one down here from his place, I guess, this afternoon when he was crawling around on the floor. So, Microchannel computer. Oh my gosh, those things. I got stories about those. One of the Microchannel machines was the PS2 Model 60, and it had a bug in the cable mismanagement tour of the rack. It had a bug in it that affected the system clock and the system battery. They put a rechargeable battery in the system battery in those machines in the Model 60s and Model 50s, but that was back in the bad old days when software manufacturers did whatever the heck they wanted and did not necessarily write properly to the operating system. They would do a lot of dirty tricks and write directly to hardware. Lotus Development was notorious for this, and so there was a version of Lotus 123 that would make a call to the system clock, and when it did it, it would gate the battery on. And so the system battery would you do your thing, in Lotus, and at the end of the day, you'd shut your computer down and go home, and you come in the next morning, and the battery had drained overnight because the thing was gated on all the time and didn't gate off when you shut down, so it tried to run the computer. And there was a lot of back and forth between Lotus and IBM, and IBM finally, technically there was a bug in the IBM that didn't close the door, so to speak, on the battery power when you turn the machine off. But it was it was Lotus's incorrect use of the clock call that triggered the bug in the IBM. So, anyway, that's my IBM PS2, one of my IBM PS2 stories. I've got others, which I'll save for later. But I've been at this for now 50 minutes, or nearly 50 minutes, and I've not played much music. So I'm going to play a little bit of music. I'll probably play for 5 minutes or so, and then I'll come back. Yeah, shutters. At least 1, 2, 3 wasn't as bad as Symphony or Lotus Notes. And do forensic work on a Lotus Domino. Oh my gosh. No worries, Nano. I wasn't on the rails anyway. I'd forgotten about Domino. All that you need to know. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I've got some. So I worked for a while. Real quick, I worked for a while for a Computerland location, which happened to be the location that sold the first IBM PC in Baltimore. And what was that magazine? There was a computer mag of the day, and the only place the guy who was going to do the review on the first hands-on review of the IBM PC, the only place he could get one was from us. So the first IBM PC reviewed in a major U.S. publication was purchased from Computerland of Baltimore, which was the company that I worked for. So, minor claim to infamy or something like that. Or related. So, anyway, I'm going to shut up for a little bit, play a little bit of music, and or something that might resemble music, and come back and we'll chat a little bit more. Well, that was a thing. A few accidentals, as they might be called, or blue notes, depending on your parlance. So I think I'm going to call it. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it for the night. Thanks, Luke. I do appreciate that. So I'm just going to say the usual things at the end of the stream. I know everybody here who's already here is subscribed and they've hit the like button and all that stuff. But you know, subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell, go visit my website. You know, all those things for the folks that haven't been here before, and for the folks viewing later. Thanks everybody for coming, and thanks folks viewing later for hanging on. Hopefully you've not decided that I'm completely cuckoo by this point. I might decide that I'm completely cuckoo by this point. But anyway, I think that's going to do me for tonight. Thanks again. Talk to you all later on the Discords or tomorrow or out and about. Good night all.